Hello, dear future thinkers, creative leaders, and change makers around the world. I'm Ekaterina, co-founder of Future London Academy. And today we have a wonderful, incredible, amazing Veronica Fuerte with us, who is the founder of Hey Studio, a creative agency that creates and builds visual languages and works with incredible brands. I'm sure you've seen their work because it's colorful, beautiful, very graphic, very distinct style. So you cannot mix it with anything else. It's really, really beautiful and gorgeous. Veronica is based here in Barcelona, and we'll be talking about all things business, leadership, her journey as a founder, all the side businesses she has as well, which is a completely separate story. And we'll hopefully talk about the journey of running a company and being a leader of a creative agency. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Katerina. Yes.
How are you doing today? How are you feeling this moment?
Now I'm fine, but I was a little bit tired this morning. Off days are very intense, but it's very nice days.
Yeah, I feel like we are in the same vibe today, so it will be a very relaxed conversation. So I'm very excited. And obviously, you've done such an incredible job with Hey. Seriously, I have so many friends who just say that's their number one favorite creative agency. So clearly, you've done really well. I wonder if you had a clear vision when you started the company of what it will be now that you look at what it is now. Did you think this will be the perfect size, the perfect style? Like, I suppose, how did your vision of the company change throughout the years?
Good question. I mean, of course, the company, I founded the studio 16 years ago, so there is a lot. The first years was like super, just myself, another person that helped me. But the beginning, I didn't have like a lot of ambition, It's just, I want to do my work, I want to have my clients, find clients because I only had one client at the beginning. So my ambition was like create, But I knew that I wanted to have my own studio. My own style, because while I was working in other companies, I always wanted to show my style, but of course I couldn't. So I stopped working for other people to stop and create my own style. So this is something I knew from the very beginning.
So style was very important part of the agency. What else was at the beginning like important things that you knew, okay, I'm not going to change this no matter where this journey takes me, but these are the important things that true to me.
I knew just a little bit because, of course, I'm a leader now, but I studied graphic design. I need to learn a lot through these years. I knew the style that I wanted to create, so my own vision, and then I knew that I wanted to have a studio with a name that it's not myself. Something that inspires in a positive way, something that it's an attitude, no, that you can't imagine anything, no? So for example, Hey is a lot of things. So it's an opening conversation. This is something I knew from the beginning. Yeah.
So you knew you didn't want basically to have just a creative agency. You wanted to have a platform that will allow you to do all the things that you like about creativity.
Yeah. Not in that in now you explain it very well. When I was 27, I just wanted to create my things, and that's all. But yes, I think it was in my unconscious that I knew that.
Brilliant. And how did this journey develop? So the agency came first. Now, obviously, you have a store that sells beautiful things. Like our team already bought some stuff from your store because you cannot not buy it. And you have a podcast as well. So kind of all these side projects or businesses. When did you know it's the right time to start them, and how did they happen?
It was organically because at the beginning I didn't have a lot of clients. So the way to develop my own style was like create projects, side projects. So, for example, I did Christmas cards, I did like character designs, but without any client behind, just to develop this style. So I create my own small projects, and after the years, I said, okay, we had a lot, you know, we had so many projects that they are there, but with no anything, just to show it to people. And one day I decided, okay, maybe we can take advantage of that. So I opened the store, the online store at the beginning, and it went normally, okay, fine. But then people come to the studio, starts to come to the studio to buy our objects and things. And of course, we were working there. And I said, okay, yes, of course you can come. And then after the years, okay, I thought that maybe there is an opportunity to open store. So it always is like organically. I didn't decide at the beginning to have a physical store. But yes, I think things come and I see the opportunity there.
And I suppose, what were the signals for you to know that that's the right way to go? Because I like how you talk about kind of the organic evolution. You create a project and someone is interested and then buy, but it's one thing, I don't know, three friends bought it, you made £10 and you're like, let's open the store, £10,000 rent a month or whatever. And at which point you knew, okay, this is enough of a separate business here to invest more time and money into it.
I think there is a part of intuition, always, I mean, in all businesses. Also, there is a part of economical side. You think, okay, maybe if we are earning this money in the online side, so maybe it's good. So there is a lot of factors that make the equation. But always there is a mystery and you don't know how it's going to be. So, but the story is a project, separate project from the studio. But it's not just to make money. We don't win, but we don't lose. But it's a place to creativity in many ways.
So your basically goal for this, as long as it's not making loss, we are going for it.
Yeah.
And was it like that from the beginning? Obviously, it still takes time because rent is expensive. Like you need to produce more than you're selling in the first month. So did you give yourself like, you know what, I'll try it for 3 months. And if we cover the costs in 3 months, then I'll, I don't know, continue the rent. Was there any sort of planning around that?
Yeah, of course there is the minimum cost and all this thing business side that I made. It was covered the first month, but COVID came, so it was so bad. And because we had the online store, that was lucky. So the online covered the physical one, and then we start again like step by step. And now it's like, okay, we are in a good moment, so let's keep it. I don't know if it's going to be for a long time or not, but we'll try.
I love it. I love how you, on one hand, take everything very organically and following the intuition, but also having this business brain on a back of your mind of like, okay, how are we doing? How is it working?
I'm a person that I take a step, but very carefully, like step by step. Not, for example, when I founded the studio, it was just me, then another person, but not a lot. Sometimes I see agency or studios that they start with 10 people. So it's something it's not my way of doing things. I love to prefer like step by step and with a long step away. Yeah.
And now you have the agency. How big is the agency now?
We are 5 at the studio and 2 at the store.
And then you have the podcast team as well.
Yeah, it's collaborators, partners. So of course, I prefer like to be a small studio, flexible. So when it's needed to grow, I grow with collaborators. And when it's needed to be small, we are the size that we are.
Love it. We actually were talking with Stefan Sagmeister yesterday, and he was saying that the perfect size, in his opinion, of his studio is 3 to 5 people. And he says that's potentially the future of design studios. And Pentagram is a great example of basically having a massive studio of tiny studios. And that's kind of the way to grow.
It's a process. I mean, in the 90s, 80s, there was no remotely working. So it makes sense that appear agencies like Pentagram or other like that. So big companies. But I think now, thanks to COVID, that it went like super fast. Now it's not necessary to be in a building, I don't know, 100 people. So everyone can work remotely. But I prefer like, I'm agree with Zagmaster, like 5 people for me is perfect. I can control everything. It's the size that I like.
And so do you feel like you're happy with the size? You don't want to grow, you don't want to shrink. This is how you want to continue.
Of course, it could be one person or two more. It's okay. But yes, because when there is a very specific style, it's very important to control it with the people inside. So imagine if we were 30 people, it would be impossible to have this essence of style. If not, will be an agency that we do everything, every kind of styles and projects.
And now that you are recognized for your style and everyone knows what Hey Studio stands for, do you have lots of clients that come in? So maybe you have to say no occasionally because, again, you want to keep it to this size? Or is it just the perfect amount of work that is coming your way versus how much you can produce?
Yes, it's not. It's very rare that I say no to a client. So maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's because they contact us without knowing what's hey, and when we receive the mood board, is this is not us. Sometimes it's like, okay, I like this project, but you are looking for something that I can't do, something like that. It's not because but it's not. It's very rare.
That's very interesting. And in terms of your team, so you said you have 5 people. So what are the roles of these 5 people and what do they do?
Starting from me, I'm the creative director. And then there is Claudia, the project manager. Laia, she's the motion designer. And then the design part is by Violeta and Marina. So it's more based on design and also motion designer. It was from 2 3 years, I think 3 years ago, that Laia came because of course motion was very needed, and I decided, okay, we need to have it in house. Yeah.
So interesting. You don't have, I don't know, new business development people or IT or finance or legal. So who who does all the rest of the things? And how do you find doing these, I suppose, non-creative tasks that as a founder kind of you have to?
I think it's part of a founder of having a company means, in that case, it's a creative company, means that of course I have the part of the creativity, the concepts, but of course there is a big part of business that means paperwork, end of the year, all the. But of course I have a financial friend working with me, a collaborator, not in house. But yes, and also Claudia, the project manager, helps me. But there is always part of it's business.
And how did you learn all of this? Obviously, as you said, you studied graphic design, so I think a lot of people end up in a position becoming a founder of a creative agency, and they're like, now I need to understand finance and at least understand what's going on in my business. So how did you learn all of this? And yeah, how did it feel to go through this journey?
It was difficult, of course. I need to say that my family, my parents, they are entrepreneurs. They have a company, and my brother is working with them. So they are retired now, but it's an industry. It's a metallurgical company. Nothing related to design. Nothing. So, but I was listening all day, business work, all day, all hours. So this is something here from the very beginning. So for me, work is like super important because it's what they teach me. And I think because of that, I learned something because of my parents. So the daily, for the everyday work. And then, of course, I learn myself. So a lot of books, because a lot of things.
And you very openly talk about your leadership journey as well, which I love. And you mentioned that at some point you got a coach to actually help you to understand how you can lead the team better. Can you talk about that? And what did you learn from getting a coach and reflecting on your own leadership style?
Yeah, it was something very important and very crucial in my career. It was 6 years ago, I think. Yeah. Also, it was at the same time that I have a personal mom situation complicated. So sometimes you need to happen something to you bad to, okay, let's start. So I decided to hire a coach, Melissa, because I had a team before. It's not the same team. It always a small team that I couldn't put limits to my team, because I didn't believe in my leadership. I always, for example, is an example, I didn't want to appear on the pictures, you know. I always wanted to appear always with my team and a little bit on the side. So I remember once interview that the journalist said, okay, where are your partners? And I said, which partners? No, the ones that the two men, two boys that appear with me and in the picture. Of course, it's like if you appear with two men, it's your partners. But if a man appears with a woman, it's just a one partner, you know? So I said, okay, I need to do something to say to the world that it's my company. I'm the owner, I'm the leadership. So I started like to work with Melissa to find my limits, boundaries at the studio with my team and resolve like when there is a problem, how I can manage that. Not about creativity, nothing about creativity, about egos, about a lot of things. So this is what I learned. Yeah, a lot.
What was the biggest change that you remember making uh, from this coaching that you felt like made a difference to yourself or your team?
Yeah, I think the first thing is put limits when there's something I don't think is correct for the studio, that it doesn't follow the Hayes value, is something I need to say stop and talk with the person. So it's something I didn't say did before. Also, conversations with my team every 3 months, one to one. Something I didn't do before, you know, because it was this is design, it's a happy place to be, but so I started like to do things more in the business part, and I think this talking and know what do you want to. I talk with my team and I know the objectives of each person. So this is very important to know the objectives and try to accomplish these objectives at Hey. The way I can, of course. If the objective is I want to live in Cuba, of course I can make it happen, you know? But are things that in my way I can help.
And how did the team react? I suppose, I don't know, did you come one day and said, okay, now we're going to have reviews every 3 months. I'm going to sit down with you and talk about your objectives. Like, how did this transition happen and how did they react to this?
Super. I mean, they wanted that. Wow, amazing. Yeah, yeah. Of course, I follow the guides of Melissa. You need to say that. I sent an email, say prepare it. So they need to prepare it, of course. And yes, they were super happy. Like the interview is about 30 minutes and sometimes it was like 2 hours. No, no, it's something that people want it. It's good.
So what is this structure that you mentioned that you go through in this review interview processes? What kind of things do you go through with each person?
Yeah, there are like three questions, key important questions, and then of course this more spontaneous. But one of the question is a moment that in the last 3 months that you feel very exciting, and like your best moment, or one or two. But it's not. It doesn't. It's not necessary like to be like we won this project. It could be like the moment you came, Vero, and said to me something, or the moment someone came to the studio, it could be something small, it's not necessary to be big. And another question is a moment that you have made it different, that maybe in the after this moment, you thought, okay, maybe I needed to change it, or I don't know why I did that. So these two moments are very important. And then the first one to one of the year is to know the objective of the person, that we are going to work through the year with mini small objectives to arrive to the big objectives. So this is the main three things.
Love it. Oh, this is so helpful. I love what you said about, oh, we in the team use highlight and low light. So we kind of similar.
Similar.
Yeah.
Similar. I like this naming.
But I like how you said the moment that changed you. I think when we talk in the team about low lights, I mean, it could be something you reflected on, something you changed. But I like your perspective of specifically looking for a moment that you had to change your behavior from, because I feel like they're so important, those moments. So I'm going to pick that one as well. And in terms of any other, I suppose, structural things, I don't know, from your personal leadership style or anything else, was there anything you had to change for yourself as well as a leader?
And doesn't take things personally. Yeah. I think all designers that I know, friends, it's something that it's common for everybody. So of course at the beginning everything was super personal. And it's wow, I couldn't sleep. I horrible, But through the years, and also with the help of Melissa and therapy, other things, I mean. So, okay, this is not me. This is not personal. It could be a feedback of a client, everything. So, yes, there is two sides. One thing is a word and accept the feedbacks, understand why, and empathy. Something is now for me, it's if I receive a critic, it's okay, no problems. Maybe it's good, the critic. Maybe I need to listen and why this, no? So I try to be like optimistic all the time.
Does it work? I can relate to that because I do feel like any founder always feels very personal when they receive feedback on their product, on their brand, on anything. It always feels like it's a personal feedback to yourself, but you're right. It's about the company. It's not about it. What did you do to make it feel better?
To improve this.
Yeah, so when someone gives you feedback, I don't know, are there any particular thoughts that you're like, okay, it's not about me, it's not about me, like
I mean, sometimes of course, I need to control myself. It's not something that it's super easy. I mean, yes, I talk with my team and I express my, "Oh," and then, okay. And I said to Claudia, project manager, can I ask now? And she said, no, wait 1 day, 2 days. I mean, it happens to me right now.
yeah, good. So one is like talk to the team, another one just wait, give it a pause.
I mean, everyone has its own techniques. Mine is, yeah, talking with my team, breath, and I don't know. The next day, you are going to see it very different.
That's a good point. I do believe that after a good night's sleep and
Different.
feels better.
Yes.
I'd love to talk to you about women at work as well. Your podcast, your project, and it's such an incredible thing that you created and you talked about it yesterday here. I feel like it does inspire so many people in general, and you put so much effort and passion into that it really shines through. And yesterday at the event that you were organizing, it was so interesting to hear the conversations of women at work about the challenges that they face through the years of running this project. What, I suppose, are the top things that you learned about women at work that you think could be helpful to share with a broad audience?
Yeah, there are so many because, of course, through the years, we interview, I think, more than 50 women. Sometimes there is like a certain pattern that is there for everybody, And yes, with Anne, she's the host, we talk about that. And yeah, I think yesterday at a talk, Marta, I think she explained it. So believe that you can make it happen. The imposter syndrome is always there. So believe in yourself. It's something that is there. So but I think it's improving. And yes, I think work hard is something that all women did, but it's something that is not just for women, it's everybody. If you want to be in a place of a good situation, you need to work hard. And curiosity. Curiosity is something super important. And yes, I think there are many things, of course, but yeah, I need support each other. It's super important.
I definitely agree with the support, and I feel like you created such a wonderful community where people do feel supported. There's, I think, just even if it's not someone that's in the same room with you, but just knowing that there are people out there who vouch for you, who believe in you, I think it's so important. One conversation that I really liked yesterday that I wanted to pick up on is about how we dress up as women at work. And it was such a
Good question.
it was such a good question. So basically, the question was whether anyone in the audience or the panel had to dress down to be taken seriously as a woman. Did you have that experience yourself?
It was unconscious, I think. It's something that we never talk about in any podcast. And it's something that happens. And I think Emily from Adobe asked this question. And yes, I think I made decisions sometimes like to dress like more, I don't know how to say, more masculine, maybe like dark. And I like to dress like that, with colors, because maybe I think if I dress with colors, people think it's not, I don't believe that. It's too playful, I don't know, too fun. And maybe sometimes I change my dress when I go to a meeting room. Of course, now it's remotely, it helps a lot. Yes, of course. It's something I do a lot is like my lipstick all the time. I don't know. Yeah, there is something unconscious there that happens to everybody, I think.
But I also like that you actually do dress up very colorful and very feminine. Like you have dresses, high heels, and I do believe that it's so important. I'm not by any means advocating that everyone should wear high heels and dresses, but at the same time, if you like feminine style, I think you should never, yeah, yeah, hide it, yeah.
I like to. I'm a very feminine person in energy, in way of dress. This is how I, from when I was little, I don't. I like to show it because it's my way of work of dress and express also my personality and attitude. But sometimes a little bit I need to hide it, but I don't like it. But yes, yesterday I dressed with a dress. I love dresses, so yes.
I can relate. I love high heels. I love dresses. And I have to say, it was very interesting to hear the conversation yesterday because I reflected that I actually never changed the way I dress for the room. And I mean, probably because I'm very privileged to probably had supportive friends or I don't know, circles where I never felt like I need to change who I am, which is again a privileged position to be in. But I have to say, it also played to my advantage in many places. So I had a project that in a company where I worked, and I always wore high heels and dresses to work. And other designers thought I was crazy because no other designer was wearing high heels. It's not what designers wear, which I don't believe in. I think designers should wear whatever they want. Or humans should wear whatever they want. But then there was a fashion project that was coming. It was actually Versace. Guess who they picked? The person who wears high heels. Because they knew that if someone is going to a client meeting, if someone is going to meet Donatella herself, probably it won't be the person in trainers and jeans. And that's why I feel like it's so important to be authentic self, because obviously I wanted this project. I would have probably be so upset if this project went to anyone else. So I was very happy that the way I showed up to work showed my values and what is important to me.
I think authenticity now is super important. So brands are looking for that because before there is no like personality, authenticity. Nobody knows about that, but now you can find everywhere. There's no like secrets, So it's authenticity is part of your personality, and if client wants to contract hire you, it's because of that also. So you can hide something that it's going to show in a moment. It's to be authentic.
Did you ever feel like your authenticity ever stopped the project from happening, or like the client made a comment that they don't trust you enough because of, I don't know?
It's not. It's something that happened to me, but with no say aloud. I feel it. Like okay, maybe because I'm too young, because I founded the studio with 27, or maybe because I was in a pitch, in a very important pitch. There were two agencies super big, masculine of course, and myself. Also, I noticed that okay, I think because I was a woman, and maybe woman means fragility, a lot of things. So they pick the conservative agency, and sometimes I've noticed things.
I do believe we're going in a positive change, but also I sometimes think there are so many things in our head that I don't know how true they are. I remember Michael Wolff, the founder of Wolff Olins, was saying that when he started Wolff Olins, obviously they were also pitching, they were young and they were in these boardrooms with all these old people. And he was like, they're looking at me and thinking, who is this young person? What does he know? And he's like, and now I'm old, I'm 90. And I feel like people look at me and think, who's this old person? So I think we always like, as creatives, we always too self-conscious, maybe.
Yeah, it's true.
And maybe people don't think anything; they just think about themselves.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's true. It's something I need to work on that.
Well, I think, yeah, it's great actually that you're so open about kind of your thinking process and everything else that goes in your life, and I really really admire your journey as a founder, but also just looking at your work. Seriously, it's so inspiring, and seeing your team that is just so wonderful and warm and friendly kind of shows how how great of a culture you built in the company. I want to finish with one last question, which is a bit more philosophical, that we ask all of the people who come to our podcast. If you could change one thing in the world, what would it be?
Wow, it's a very difficult question. No, yes, I would love to be. I think equity is super important. So if the world is more like female, with politicians, I think will be a better world. Yeah, in many ways. Yeah.
Yes to equality, yes to more diversity in all roles.
See, in many ways, not just male, female, like in many ways, and different genders. Wherever I think the diversity at the end is it's something positive, and it's the thing that is needed for the planet, for everything.
100% agree. And thank you so much, Veronica, for coming today, but also for sharing so much inspiration for creative community. I feel like the work that you do with Hey, but also with Women at Work is just so important. And I know so many people who just changed how they think about work because they heard your podcast, they heard your conversations, and they felt more confident doing what they do. So thank you for doing this work. It's seriously inspiring, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks to you. Yeah, thanks for interviewing me, and thanks to say that because it's super important. The work that we do at Women at Work is we spend a lot of hours, it's super hard work. So when I hear that, it's super nice.
And thanks everyone for listening and watching us. Please follow Hey Studio on all social platforms. Seriously, you'll be inspired every single day. And follow Women at Work on podcasting platforms. And thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, bye.